This is Tyson Nash, and you're listening to Missin Curfew.
Welcome back to a fresh episode of Missin Curfew. Up dog, my man, fella.
Fellow Mondays. Fella Monday.
Monday, baby.
What's up, fella?
Fucking feeling good for a Monday.
Feeling
Feeling good for a Monday.
You're looking fresh.
It's because I only had a one-night weekend, but that's my success to a good Monday. One night, blow it out, relax the rest, buddy.
You know what? I've taken some time off. No sugar, no alcohol.
Wow.
It's been 6 days now.
How's that feel?
Not bad. It's good on the guts. It's good on the fucking mind. Sleeping well.
I'm going to go 30 days in January.
Oh, you're going to the sober Jan.
I'm going to go sober Jan right before we head in for the first fella tour in fucking Fort Lauderdale for the All-Star game.
Heads up for
30
that.
days. Just had a little wellness doctor.
You might want to maybe build up for that. So you don't want to go in there just fresh,
I'm going to go in there
clean.
just fucking ready
So
to
fresh,
rock.
so clean.
No, I'll be able to drink before that because the All-Star game is like February 8th.
Oh, you get a full week.
So I'm going to Aspen for New Year's with you guys, and I'll come back on the 2nd. Well, I won't drink on the 1st either because I'll be hurting so bad. So I'll still start January 1st. It'll start January 1st. Off dog. So
good point there.
I'm glad you're taking a couple days off. That's always good just to kind of give it a little, oil
I've
change.
been just going Life Force and drinking lots of water, doing the mushroom tea, and just clarity, bud. Clarity.
Mushroom tea. What's the mushroom tea? Like you put mushrooms in there?
Yeah, I do the mud water.
Mud water.
This is a free pop-up for the mud water guys. But it's mud water. I do in the morning, it's mud water straight up, which is all the proper good
So it's
fungi.
not the mushroom. It's not the mushrooms I'm thinking, or is it?
No, it's a little bit of it. Lion's mane, all that stuff. No real psychedelics to it, but a lot of things that'll help explore the mind. And then at night, they got the mud water rest. Throw a little honey in there, give it a little sweetener, and then it calms you down, gives you like chamomile, and again, just stuff to activate. Great dreams. So I would recommend it for anyone out there who wants to get off coffee. It's a great coffee alternative. Yeah, it's not bad.
All right.
So,
mushroom tea in the morning.
Mushroom tea in the morning, mushroom tea at night.
All right. Maybe I'll have to give that a try. See what kind of dreams I have. I had some weird dreams this week, actually. But anyways, we're getting off topic here. Up dog. We got Tyson Nash coming on, a guy that you know a little bit from your time in Arizona, guy that I've got to know since me and you got in the media business. I love what he brings to the table. He's always honest. He wears 6 suits, but when he calls a game, it's fun to listen to.
Yeah,
he brings that element of a locker room, kind of what we want to bring here at Missin Curfew. He's always looking sharp, good hair, fucking good flow. So
yeah, they got a good staff there. I just throw out a little shout out to my boy Rich Nairn, who runs their media there. He's the team media guy. He's great. Todd Walsh, who's a beauty. It's Nasher's kind of like interview guy during the game for their segments. But great team there. Nasher's a pro. We followed up the ranks quite. Very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar style of career paths for he and I. Phoenix. St. Louis, and then of course Kamloops Blazers. So this is Tyson Nash
coming at you, fella. Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Up dog, a guy that we've been trying to get on for a little bit. Sharp suits. Every time I see this guy on TV, first thing I sing is National League suits.
Sharps. I think this is as messy as his hair has ever been. Hey?
Tyson Nash, thanks for joining Missin Curfew, fella.
Boy, the toupee is, it's windy out there today in Scottsdale. The toupee is blowing around. I need my chin strap here, but I appreciate the acknowledgement. It's a rental, a couple rental suits, but and some naked mannequins running around out there. So,
well, now that Panger's gone as the color guy there in Phoenix, you get to kind of explore a little taller area in between the benches. Bigger smile. But when I came in there, you and Panger were kind of buzzing around. How's our boy Darren Pang been? You see him?
Oh, he's been awesome. That's no easy task. Those are big little shoes to fill. Let's just say that he's one of the best. You guys know that. He's always so positive. He's got that high end energy, which I think you have to have in this job on a podcast. You got to be approachable. Panger taught me a lot. We still keep in touch. There were some hot topics last year with the Zegra stuff flying around. You find out who your friends are in a hurry. And Darren Pang was a guy that was right there at my doorstep, helping me out.
Yeah, the thing about Panger is I always said this, anytime I played against the Blues or whatever it was, he always made the game more fun in between right? In warm up, you talk to Panger, the TV timeouts, like that could be the ultimate compliment to him. Like he makes the game more enjoyable as a player.
And you know what? Like, I think the game is, I mean, as you guys know, the game's completely changed in a lot of different areas, but the players are so like, they're so friendly out there, first of all, which I absolutely hate. But then they're so serious on the other hand. I mean, it's still the old school guys though that come by, the Matthew Kachucks, the Brady Kachucks. They give me the fist pump between the benches. You just don't see a lot of guys do that anymore, which I find really kind of disappointing. But you're right. When Panger was there, he was always in your ear. He was always laughing and joking with you. I miss that for sure.
You just miss watching the meatheads kind of patrol the line, eh? And just take it all in. You're like, tonight's going to be good. I get to call a good one here. Look at these two beauties just trying to fight each other.
Look at Brian McGrattan working the line with his blonde mohawk. I'm like, holy fuck.
Hey. Yeah, at least I'm not on the ice. I'm behind enemy lines now. I'm not right in the thick of things. As you can tell, this is not a nose on my face. It's actually an elbow. It's so big. It's got a joint in it. It got twisted up a few times out on that ice.
Nasher, we were laughing earlier. Yeah, that nose is well deserved, buddy, for how you played. But we both kind of came through the same ranks. You're an Alberta boy, born in Edmonton, played all your junior hockey in Kamloops, 3 Memorial Cups, buddy. Fuck. That's pretty impressive. Take me back to like a little Kamloops Blazer, Tyson Nash. Were you jacked up like this? Did you have tattoos in junior? What was kind of your speed then?
Yeah, I got my first tattoo, I think when I was 15, when I played for the Blazers. I was actually good back then, Uppy, if you can believe it. I was like one of the top ranked Canadian players. At 13, I think you couldn't get drafted, but you got listed. And I think I took like 4 or 5 spots back then because I was, good, and Kamloops jumped on it. And obviously it didn't turn out the way we all hoped, but I played on amazing teams. I'll just say that when you win championships, no matter at what level you're at, that is a bond and a friendship and a group that you never stray away from. We still get together in the summer times. We reminisce all the time. We got a big group chat that we still fire back and forth. And we follow each other's careers moving forward, and very blessed to be a part of a team like Kamloops, the Jerome McGinleys, the Darcy Tuckers. Yeah. Scott Niedermayer was there when I was 16 years old. Daryl Fedor was there. Zach Boyer, who's still one of my best friends today. I mean, you go back and you look at some of the names. I mean, some of those names are in the Hall of Fame. I mean, so it just kind of tells you, that it was pretty special to win 3 out of 4 years. To win once. I mean, my son plays in the Western Hockey League now, and he's like, he really finally appreciates it because he's like, Dad, it's hard enough to get to the playoffs, let alone actually get to the Memorial Cup and then win it, 2 more times after that in the short amount of time that you are in junior. So very blessed, boys. Insane.
Yeah, I'm just going to take you back to my experience in Kamloops too. I was a listed draft player I never got drafted, but listed from Fort Mac. Obviously, if a scout wanted to come watch us play hockey up there, they were fucking nuts.
What does listed mean?
Listed was where you don't get picked up in the draft. So basically, you got a couple years after that, they could just pick you up as like a free agent kind of thing. Okay. So if you're from Northern Alberta, not many scouts would travel up there. They'd stick around like Edmonton or Calgary or Vancouver or whatnot. So anyway, I went in for my first training camp. Dean Evanson's our coach. And all the guys that you just mentioned were all back skating, which is so great about Kamloops is all those guys used to come back, spend their summers in Sycamoose, on the lake and do their thing. And, I'm out for practice. I'm like with Daryl Sador playing Juice Boy and Mark Recchi, and we're shooting on like, Corey Hirsch or whatever. It was just like Kirk McLean. It was a full thing. And I'm like, fuck, this is crazy. I actually felt like I was in the NHL at the moment I first stepped on the ice in junior. I'm looking at, Mark Recchi's records that are on a banner for all the points he scored. And you just see all these names in the rafters and you're like, holy shit, the tradition here is insane. And then the support that you get from the crowd and the fans is why Kamloops is ultimately the junior hockey mecca that it's been.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you don't realize it until after. I don't think I really appreciated what happened in Kamloops until, long after I was even done playing. And my son's playing, and you recognize, because at that time you're like, okay, I'm living with Daryl Sador, I'm playing with Daryl Sador and Scott Niedermayer. I know they're great players at this level, but you didn't know they were going to go on and have the careers they did in the National Hockey League, winning Stanley Cups and in the Hall of Fame. And I'm like, God, I actually played with those guys when I was young. But I think when you're young, you just kind of try to soak it all up. You look at the best player who's on your team and in your locker room, and you just try to emulate what they do on the daily and hope you can just maybe be, somewhat half as good as that, right?
Hey, Matt, sorry, Nash. Yeah. Who is the goalie? Steve who? He's a beauty. He's
Steve Passmore.
Steve Passmore. What a beauty that guy was. This guy, he was a savage, right? Did he play for the Hawks? Yeah. At the time I met this guy, I was young, but I'm like, this guy fucks. This guy's like this guy's having a time out here. He's like, I'm like, is he ready for training camp or what? What was his career like?
Oh my God. I mean, it was remarkable. He made it out of there. But again, like when you win, scouts and GMs on NHL teams, they want guys who have won because they know that those guys know what it takes to win. And Steve was one of those guys. We used to have this saying in Kamloops, and I'm sure you know it. It was PH squared, and you'd write it on the board on Friday or Saturday night when you'd have a day off the next day, and it meant play hard, party hard, and we would party. And I swear, this is what made us so good: is that we look forward to it. We look forward to having a black eye after the game.
Yeah.
Going out to the bars. Even when we were too young to get in. And the attention we would get. I mean, you just loved it. It was part of your culture. And Steve Passmore, though, he was the epitome of that guy.
I don't even know who that is.
I know, it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, he played in the NHL.
Yeah, he did.
Chicago Blackhawks.
Wow.
Yeah,
I gotta look him up here.
Yeah.
So they're hosting the Memorial Cup, which is kind of why I want to dive into this. I haven't been to a Memorial Cup since I left junior. I watched one in Kelowna back in the day when those guys were rolling through, and I think they won 2 Memorial Cups, kind of like the Blazers did back in the day. But your guys playing in Winnipeg, your youngster, they're leading the CHL and in rankings right now. What would it mean to see your kid kind of go back and play in the Memorial Cup now?
I can't even imagine what that would be. You want to talk about memories, coming rushing back, and it's in Kamloops. That's the beauty of it. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but their team right now is so dominant, and we all know it means absolutely nothing when it comes to playoff time, as I know all too well. We steamrolled everyone when I was with the St. Louis Blues, won the President's Trophy. There wasn't a rink, there wasn't a game that we didn't go into thinking we're going to absolutely crush these guys. And then we ended up losing to San Jose in the first round of the playoffs. Best team to never win a cup. I'll just say that. But that's kind of where Winnipeg's at right now. They got to continue to take steps. And hopefully they can get to the dance, get to the Memorial Cup, and me and Mama will be front and center, the rest of the family, and in my old stomping grounds in Kamloops.
You're gonna get a fellow tour stop off. We're coming up there. I haven't fucking announced it yet, but we're coming to Memorial Cup. Yeah, we're coming.
First I heard of that, Nasher. Nasher, I played with Scotty Niedermayer when I was a rookie in the NHL, and he was like the perfect human being. Did he have any bad habits in Kamloops? Did he like to go out and maybe get drunk that nobody knew about? Not to throw Norm under the bus here, but such a great human being. Did he have any flaws back then, Nasher?
You know what? It's so disappointing because he didn't.
I know.
He didn't.
He's just a nice...
search for it. We call him the professor. He puts these glasses on, and I'm just like, you're one of the best defensemen that ever played in our league. And you played with him. He is the smartest, most sarcastic human being that you could ever meet. You don't want to get into a fighting match when it comes to words. I can promise you that. He is just an interesting individual, amazing guy, but no, he never drank. I think the worst thing he did maybe was his long hair. He had the long, flowing lobe. And he loved his big trucks, loved his big monster trucks, and who knows what else he's into.
That's a Western Leaguer thing.
Would he sweat after the game in junior? Because in the NHL, he wouldn't even sweat. I'd be like, Norm, you're not even sweating, bud. Was the same in junior?
I remember one shift he had. They had it it was in the playoffs when he was with Anaheim. I swear to God, he had almost a 5-minute shift. It was like he killed the entire penalty. Then they went out for the power play, and he did it all. He didn't come off the ice once. I mean, the guy is not human. And,
no, he's not.
I mean, you've seen his legs. I mean, they're like redwood trees. It's not even normal.
That's great.
Nasher, I want to ask you about those Blues teams that you just brought up there. Chris Pronger, a guy I played with. I remember watching you boys play. I remember you, and I was like, we think of our era as pretty tough, right? But it's like every era before it, I think, was tougher and tougher. So talk about those teams a little bit more, and talk about your role back then of I know you had some tough guys with Twister and Chaser, but like you were always in the shit. That's what I remember watching you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Again, that's how I got this nose. You know, I mean, those St. Louis Blues teams were absolutely gross. I mean, you guys know the road just to get there. I mean, my style didn't change when I got there. I mean, I have been doing this since I was playing junior. I mean, I had to play this way because I was small in a big man's game, in a big man's world back then. You know, I had coaches and I had teachers telling me, hey, you're never going to make it. You're too small. You can't skate. You're not big enough, all this stuff. So, well, I'll never forget when I got my first opportunity in St. Louis, Larry Plow gave me the chance. And he said, I don't care who you are. I don't care that you're a walk-on. I don't care if you're first round, a 10th round, whatever it is. You earn a spot on our team and you're going to make it. And I'll never forget. And this is kind of how my teammates ended up kind of, you know, falling in love with me, guys like Twister and guys like Kelly Chase. But when I, you know, came to training camp, first shift, Pavel Demitra, their leading scorer the year before, gets the puck, crosses the blue line. I'm on the other team. And I'm like, all right, this is my chance. And I hit him. I knock him out cold. I separated his shoulder. They scrape him off the ice on a stretcher. And all I hear is Kelly Chase on the other team's bench yelling and screaming at me that he's going to murder me and he's going to kill me. And I'm like, oh my God. And my dad, before training camp, I'm 24 at the time. My dad's like, this is it, kid. You were in Vancouver. You never got a sniff. This is it for you. You better, you know, don't say woulda, coulda, shoulda. You know, make sure they recognize who you are and, you know, what your name is at the end of every practice, every scrimmage, whatever it takes. I'm like, I think it was safe to say that they remembered who I was. Chaser jumped over the boards. I ended up fighting him. I finished third in that fight. My nose was on the other side of my face. I mean, it was gross. And Bobby Plager, Uppy, as you know, he was the coach of our team. So there's no penalties. So I went to the penalty box, and the guy in the penalty box was like, "No, you're back.
Go back." No, you're like, hold on, my nose is bleeding. I need 5 minutes here to stop the leaking, boys.
I needed to straighten it out, right? So I even had to pick up my own gloves, and I go back to the bench, and Bobby Plager's like, "Get back out there," and I'm like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?" So I go back out there. And, you know, I ended up taking a run at Al McInnes, and friggin' McInnes cross-checked me, knocked a couple teeth out, and friggin' that was the start of my training camp. But again, you go back to those Blues teams, eventually the guys took a liking to me because I made their job really easy. I made Twister's job really easy, Kelly Chase's job really easy, because now they're not going out just to fight for a show. They're going out because Ty Domi is just, you know, knocked my nose again on the other side of my face, and now they're pissed, right? Yeah. Now Twister's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy because you just, you know, beat up my teammate. So it was fun. You
got the boys all riled up, and then Twister Chaser came in and take care of it. I love it.
Hey,
I love it.
Hey, Nasher, I had something similar in St. Louis at the time of my career where I was a fourth liner, and I was like you, I was buzzing. I had Kyle Brodziak up the middle. I had Revo. So I had my Tony Twist, and arguably, you know, Brodziak was tough. You fought Brodziak, but
I did.
He would like to go, and my job was to basically, you know, entertain these boys. Fucking fly around, throw the body around, just fucking get to the net, make them laugh, and then fucking play hard. It was similar to you. And talking about similar, we both wore number 9, correct?
Yes.
You got 235 games played for the Blues. I got 206. Not bad.
Yeah.
You got 24 goals. I had 23. Solid Western League.
I got him by one. Attaboy, Nasher.
26 apples. I had 28. We got identical stats, brother. What the fuck? Hey, that's pretty good.
That's scary.
You got more Pims than me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, where's the Pims? I want to see the.
I left the.
You left the Pims out, Nasher, because you probably dominated.
You probably had about 400 more Pims than me. Well deserved.
You know what I hated though, and I swear to God this happened. Because I think when I left, Paul Correa came in after, and then you came in after Paul Correa. And I swear to God, because I remember the jerseys always changed, right? And I'd see these 9 jerseys floating around in the era that I wore the jersey. And it doesn't say Nash on the back. It says Correa or Upshaw. They just ripped my Nash off and they sewed the new name on, right? Without getting a new jersey. I was always so pissed.
Hey, actually, I'm gonna hit this right now. You had 4 seasons in a row with over 100 Pims for the Blues. So well done.
That's NHL there. I like that. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Hey, they all count, Asher. They all count. They all count.
I could yap, boys. I could yap. I'll tell you what. I was scared to death. Like I'm just telling you, I'm glad the game has changed when I think of my kids playing, and because I wouldn't want kids to go through what the mental anguish that I did. Every day I was absolutely scared out of my mind. I couldn't sleep the night before because I did something the game before. I'd go after your grandma. I'd go after your girlfriend, your wife. It didn't matter. Chaser would fill me with information and knowledge, and I would go out there and just rile guys up like no one's business. And I knew it was coming, and a lot of times I got what I deserved. But I was scared to death every single game. I could tell you that. And I don't think people understand today. I mean, our game has changed so much. These kids got nothing to worry about.
Nothing.
I mean, who's running around them?
Nobody.
I mean, the tough guys in our league, I mean, are still tough, but not even close to what we had back in the day, right?
No, and our era was not even as tough as yours, but I know what you mean, Nash. Like early on in my career, I was like, pregame nap would be a nightmare. The night before I'd be at dinner, but I'm like, fuck me. I know I got to get in one. Like, this is brutal. Like a lot of sleepless nights and afternoons, but like nowadays, like the fighting's one thing because I'm with you, but like, they don't even forecheck anymore. Like if you're a D, you can just go back and get the biscuit. You're like, this is nice. Like in my era, it was like Bugart, Big Earn, fucking Colton Orr. They didn't even care about Tutu. Yeah. Like I was like, Jesus Christ.
Snot bubbles coming out of their noses. They're like, and there was like no hold up rule. You can freaking just run guys over. And I mean, it's just, I laugh now. I'm just like, again, I love it because, I mean, it's a different game now, but I do miss the old school. I mean, you look at the fans. Fans get excited for a couple reasons. Number one, it's the fight. I mean, you look around the rink. I do the games between the benches. They still love the fight. And then it's a big hit, and then it's a goal. I truly believe that in that order. So I'd love to see a little bit more of it, but I obviously understand where it's going in today's world.
Nasher, talk about what that mentality of like having to, fucking like grab a sack and grab a
sack,
find your balls. Yeah, find your balls. Grab it.
I used to say, give your balls a tuck, bud. Come on.
Explain that, like leading into the next phase of your life when you left hockey and you went into, color commentating. And then as far as I know, you got into business. I think you might have bought a few Orange Theories, and Obi wanted to talk to you about that because he likes to work out.
I used to work out there. It's fucking no joke. I didn't stop. The housewives were kicking my ass, Nash.
Yeah, he's at Corona Del Mar just looking around at all these 40-year-old cougars just like, fuck, this is nice. Do a couple extra rows, get the heart rate up. But just talk about like the mentality of having to lace up and play the style you did to like leaving the game and then finding a new passion and drive into like the next phase of your life.
Well, I think first of all, we've all done it. I mean, we all sacrificed. We all did whatever we had to do, whatever it took to make the NHL. And everyone's road and journey looks a little bit different. For me, I kind of touched on it. I truly was told a million times from coaches, from teachers. I was a little bit of a problem child. I came from a broken home, and so this was kind of my outlet, right? Was to kind of act out, and I could act out on the ice, and I could make a living at it. And it wasn't also a big part of my personality. I'd like to think I'm a pretty nice guy off the ice, and people like me, and I still get a lot of friends in the game. But when the whistle went and the puck dropped, you had to flip that switch, and you had to do whatever it took. And I remember Joel Quenneville, he came to me and said, listen, training camp's over. You were great. You had 8 great games. I think you fought like 6 times, and I couldn't see out of either eye. He goes, but can you keep doing it?
Yeah.
And if you can keep doing it, and if you can be the most hated man in this game, you'll always have a job with me and with the St. Louis Blues. And I literally started crying, and he shook my hand and he's like, go get a place, go find a place to live, call your wife. So I'll never forget the opportunity that Joel Quenneville gave me, and Mike Kitchen, who was like my second father, and how they helped me and turned me into a great NHL player. But, we had to sacrifice, we had to do whatever it took. And, sometimes yapping on the ice got me into a lot of trouble. got me injured a number of times, but it didn't matter, because I was going to do whatever it took not to go back to the American Hockey League, not eating soggy subs and drinking beer on the back of the bus.
Choose spinners on the floor when you're trying to sleep. Yeah. You're like, fuck, I'm trying to shut her down here.
Syracuse to Rochester. I'm like, oh my God, where are we? Like, I want to stay on the bird, the private plane. I used to call my wife when we'd land, and I'd call her one time from the phone from the airplane. Remember that when they had the phones in the back of the seat, and I'm like, oh my God, they got shrimp cocktail on here, and Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and I was living my best life, and you never wanted it to end, but it does, sadly, right? And it ends badly for everyone. I mean, unless you're Wayne Gretzky or and even for a lot of superstars, it ends badly, and eventually the door closes and no one opens it up again. And you got to recreate yourself, and you got to recreate your life. And for me, I jumped right into broadcasting. I think I was very fortunate because I didn't know it at the time, but the job that came along, there's not many of them, and I jumped on it. And it's the best thing that I've ever done. I've been doing it for 15 years. It's the best job in hockey. That there's no massive highs and lows like there are as a player. Win or lose, you're having a great time.
Hit the booze. Win or lose, hit the
booze. You're enjoying the cities too, right? Like as a player, you didn't really always enjoy the city. You're always, okay, it's midnight, I better go home.
Yeah.
Now it's like you're really enjoying everything about the National Hockey League. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't feel so blessed. And then I got into business, and my story is a tough one. You can all find out what I made in my career. But I had a financial guy that took a lot of my money. And I think at the end of the day, I was left with, I think 250 grand in my bank account, after all the dust settled, and these guys are now in jail. And I still don't know the full story, of what really actually happened to a lot of us. But I was left with 250 grand, and I was in depression. I was taking meds. I was the most, I was on death's doorstep there for a long time. My wife finally looked at me and she's like, all right, let's go. Like, get off your ass. Like, let's stop feeling sorry for ourselves. It is what it is. We got to figure this out. And, I started working out, and I started going to this workout, and it was called Orange Theory. And I'm like, well, what the heck is this? And I started looking around the class, and I'm like, holy cow, this thing's packed. Like, there's 39 people in here. It's expensive as hell. Right?
Yeah, it's not cheap.
My God, it's not cheap. And I'm like, then all of a sudden the numbers in my head are going, and I'm like, hang on here. I go, this could be a good business model. So me and my wife were like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's freaking throw whatever's left in our bank account and go after this. So we ended up partnering with a guy. We built one, ended up building 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. And I lost a lot of money, as I mentioned, but I made myself whole, times 10 after that. So
but that's awesome. Good. I mean, the fact that financial like you should be able to. Anyways, that's such a joke that pisses me off. I'm sorry that happened to you, but
he's getting his taste
on
the Orange Siri.
On the Orange Siri thing, there was this one teacher. She was a good-looking girl, and she'd come over and be like, you got to bend your knees more. You're not getting full extension. And finally, after a couple months, I'm like, hey, sweetheart, listen, I get you're trying to help me out here. I just retired from pro hockey. I'm just trying to get a sweat in. Like, I'm not going to get full extension. I'm not going to, I'm just trying not to fucking die in here, all right? Like, every day she'd be all over me, Nash. I'm like, and the stupid rowing thing, I worked out there for 2 years, and the reason I stopped is it made me sore. I was like, I've been sore my whole life. I don't want to be sore after working at Orange Theory with the Housewives of Orange County, you know what I mean? So I gave it up, Nasher, but I supported you for a bit.
Well, I heard you got kicked out, actually, because I heard you were running behind the moms on the treadmill.
Yeah, that was the thing, too. I come out there, I was like, Jesus, it just wasn't good all around. It wasn't good all around.
Lots of blood flowing around.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
Hey, Nasher, on your broadcasting thing, though, and I told Uppy when we started doing this, and I told myself before I did with Uppy, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to just go on. It's not easy right away. It took a lot of time to get going, but I think that I like about you the most is yourself. You're yourself. You say what you want to say. You don't rip guys, but you call it how it is. Is that kind of what you told yourself going in? I'm going to be Tyson Nash kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why they hired me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why your podcast is so successful, because you guys are who you are. And what drives me crazy about the hockey guys, and I get it to some extent, but I'm like, I'm so glad that now they're being a little more outgoing, because we're all unreal guys. Like, we're all good dudes. We all have great stories and big personalities for the most part. I wish guys would show it more. And I think this was a real good outlet for me, just to kind of freewheel and just be who I am. And I've obviously got myself in a lot of hot water over the years. I think the Rafi Torres hit was one of those things. I think I had 2,000 voice messages on my phone at the Ritz-Carlton in Chicago, death threats, and they're going to run me down on Michigan Avenue. And then last year with the Zegras stuff. But I tell it like it is, and I think that's why people appreciate me. You got to keep your credibility. That's the biggest thing. I mean, you can't just ride the wave of social media and where it's going. Cause I just couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't respect myself if I didn't say it like it is. And if I rip on a player, I'll be the first guy to go in that locker room and be like, hey, I was pretty hard on you last night. I'm sure your mom and your dad and your girlfriend or your wife, I already told you that I chirped you for giving up a pizza up at the middle of the ice, and we'll have a conversation, and then we'll move on. And I think the players respect it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's well said.
I want to ask you about the plans. First of all, I'm on board with the Arizona Coyotes, Nash. I'm on board. I don't know. I love the Mullet Arena. I love your team. I love Lawson Krause. I love Nick Ritchie. I love
Old Town.
I love Liam O'Brien. I think the Coyotes. I do love Old Town. I think the Coyotes could. I think they could play a little bit harder, even. Like, when you see these guys, like, we talk about how the game's changed. Like, there's some meat and potatoes on this team where they could have a little bit more fuck you in them.
I agree with that. I'll always want that. I think this team, though, before Bill Armstrong got here, was so soft. Like, I've never seen guys like Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Clayton Keller and Connor Garland get slapped around, like just absolutely friggin' slapped around all over the ice, and no one does anything about it. I'm looking between the benches going, is someone going to address this? And honestly, I believe that Bill Armstrong has done a real nice job drafting bigger players, signing bigger guys, and just Nick Ritchie. I mean, this guy's an absolute monster. He's the perfect fit Toronto.
Yeah, couldn't play in Toronto. Couldn't play in Toronto.
I'm like, I shake my head every day. I'm like, how does this guy not on the side with Austin Matthews? Like, no one messes with anyone when he's out there.
No.
In today's game, I love him. Lawson Krause. I call him the Velvet Hammer. I mean, he's got sick mitts. He can score. He scored 20 goals last year. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. No one messes with him either. Liam O'Brien. So that part has been so refreshing. We're not going to win a lot of hockey games, maybe, but no one's going to come into that Mullet Arena, which is so intimate. The fans right on top of you, and no one is going to push this group around. So I think it fits the identity of what we're trying to do here in Arizona.
Yeah, real quick, just I want to tag the Lawson Krause thing. I don't think he realizes how tough he could be just yet. Like, I think he's still realizing, like, he needs to get in a couple more, and then he's going to be like, fuck, all right, I could dominate this league, because he is a monster. So if you're talking to him, say Obi said, fucking drop him a few more times.
I know. I agree.
And Nasher, do you see Bill Armstrong implementing kind of like that St. Louis style of, like, you got to have a fourth line that battles, you got to have Big D, and then your offensive guys can flourish? Has he kind of brought that mindset into that kind of system?
Yeah, I love Bill. I love talking to him. He's fascinating because he is completely. How do you not, when the blueprint works, how do you not take that blueprint and bring it with you when you go to another team? And he's got the luxury of, like, we're rebuilding. I mean, I know people rip on us and we're, low hanging fruit or the laughing stock at some times, but if you really look at a lot of teams around the league, is there anything more disappointing as a fan or as a player or as anyone in the organization being mediocre every year? There's so many mediocre teams around the league. We're blowing it up here in Arizona. We are blowing it up. We need to blow it up. We've been rebuilding for 20 years, as long as I've been here, and we've never drafted properly because we always think there's a chance. Like, even when Wayne Gretzky came here, it was like, we can't lose as Wayne Gretzky as your coach. Like, we gotta win. So all of a sudden we're bringing in the Peter Nedveds, the Curtis Josephs, the Ed Jovanovski,
Scotty Upshaws.
Yeah. And instead of, like, we're still not making the playoffs. So now, instead of getting, like, you think about those teams back then and the years, Crosby, Malkin, Kane, Taves, Ovechkin. I mean, we should have 2 of those guys. Instead, we got the Kyle Turrises of the the Martin Hansels, the Mikkel Bodkers. I mean, those are not franchise players, right? So Bill Armstrong now has blown this thing up, and he's hired the right people, around him, the top scouts in the world, and he's paying them. Our ownership has bought into this 1,000%. And hopefully when we build that rink, and we move out of Mullet Arena in 3 or 4 years, that we are set. We have franchise players. We have guys like Austin Matthews, and maybe he wants to come back and play in that new barn, which I don't think is too far off the map. But we have franchise players that people want to pay to come and watch. And this team is 7 or 8 years, I believe, away from winning a cup if they can. Stay the course.
I agree. Yeah, you're so right. And we started a rumor about Austin Matthews going to either to Arizona if they get the new barn, or maybe LA if they don't get the new barn. But I'm with you. You got cap room. You're rebuilding. Talk to me about the new rink, Nasher. Like, is 3 years a really realistic goal, or like, because I love Mullet Arena, but moving forward, I agree with everything you said. I think Arizona's going to go from people think they're a laughingstock to in 5 years, it's going to be like, oh boy, this team has a chance to win. But how realistic is a new barn in 3 years?
Well, I mean, a lot of stuff has to happen. I don't know the political side of it, which is an absolute train wreck. But our ownership group is willing to put up over $2 billion of their own money to fund this rink. It's not like we're going to the city and going, hey, we need a loan. We need you guys to step up. No, they're doing it all. That's how dedicated this guy is to getting it done in Arizona. And I don't know if you guys have seen the renderings, but they are absolutely insane. And the players are ready. I mean, you guys know the lockouts, the Olympic breaks, the All-Star breaks, everyone in the world comes down to Arizona. Can you imagine if we actually have the best rink in the league to play in? Top-notch players, superstars. I mean, we're 5 minutes from Old Town Scottsdale. We're 2 minutes from Mill Avenue. I mean, it is absolute fantasy island now in Arizona if we can get that rink built. And I think it's going to happen. If anyone's going to get it done, it's going to be the Morello Group, which, these guys are billionaires for a reason, right? I laugh when people are like, oh, I'm like, really? Yeah, they're billionaires. Like, shut up. You know nothing about business. So stop talking, please. You lost me at billionaire.
No, you're right. Because it is a place that deserves the entertainment value, right? And then the people will come. If you build it, the people will come. And that's exactly what they've been missing. Yeah,
I was just like, dude, you guys know you played there. That old barn, even as a road team, you come in there, it's like, fuck.
Snooze fest.
I'm in Scottsdale's fucking 45 minutes. Like, why is the rink not over there? This is brutal. I take a cab back at 3 a.m. I'm like, this is awful. Like, who built this rink? Nash is all I used to think when I went in there. Who built this rink?
It's in the middle of a farmer's field. I mean, it was never about a rink. That's what people don't understand. I mean, even when there's 10,000, 8,000. It's like the worst. You can hear a mouse fart in there. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. This Mullet Arena, guys, it is awesome. It is absolutely insane. I never played in college. I can just imagine now. And the fans are on top of you. It's like you're playing junior hockey again. The players are skating around, see mom and dad in the stands, and you're waving, and they're giving you the hand signals or whatever our parents used to do, as crazy as they were. But it's so intimate. And it is absolutely beautiful. So only 5,000 seats, but for the time being, it's a good stepping stone.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to come.
Yeah, we're going to be there. Waste Management Open. I want to talk to you about your golf game because I texted you a few times on every off day, which I respect about you even more. You're like, I'm teed it up off day. So is that a ritual every off day, or how often are you getting out there?
You guys, I mean, I know you guys are good players, but I don't know I'm supposed to be an athlete, and hockey players are supposed to be good golfers. I went up to Idaho this summer, and I spent the summer up there with Ray Whitney and all those guys. I played every single day. I started in the mid 80s. I'm like, okay, I got it. And I couldn't break 100 by the end. I played every single day for 2 months straight, and I got worse. And I lost a boatload of money too. But I'm fun to play with. I will say that I'm fun to play with.
I believe that. Hey, Nasher, I'm kind of the same way. Like if I play once a week, I play better than I do if I play 2 or 3 times a week. I bring bad habits into my game when I play too much. I'm a 1 a week guy. Just stay away. Just good enough to get that Friday game with the boys.
Yeah, and you know what? I was left-handed. I was right-handed. Then I switched to left-handed. And now I'm full right-handed. full right-handed, except I still punt left. So I'm working on it. I need some serious help.
I mean, I think the answer is you're a bit of a mental midget here, I think.
I get so nervous. Like, you're on the tee box and you're like, unless I have like 8 or 9 cocktails, like you're sitting there and like Wayne Gretzky's there and like all these John Elway, you know, Sean Payton, and I'm sitting there like shitting my pants. And of course, freaking skull went off the toe, freaking into the bush, right? I'm like, oh my God.
Well, there's no
shortage.
shortage.
Who hit that shot, boys? Who hit that shot there? That wasn't me.
And there's no shortage of booze at Gaza Ranch.
No.
So, I mean, you should be
at
least 2 tequilas deep before you even come down the hill to the first tee.
I know, but I wait for the comfort station. I mean, I don't have your type of money, Uppy. So,
hey, I'm a guest. I'm the world's best guest.
He's not paying for anything at Discovery, bro. He's not paying for anything.
Oh, Nasher, you're a beauty. We appreciate you coming on, man. Taking some time, join the boys. Like you said, we got to come see you guys to witness Mullet Arena firsthand.
Yeah.
But appreciate your time.
Yeah, Nasher, thanks, buddy. You're a beauty. You're good for the game. Keep her going, fella.
Hey, thank you guys, and hey, keep kicking ass. You guys, I love to see guys after hockey's done be successful, do what they love, and you bring the personality. So keep doing it, boys.
Thanks, buddy. Welcome back to Mr. Curfew. Beauty.
He's going to hit the range. I don't know. Is he going to go right-handed or left-handed? That was fucking hilarious. I've been telling you to do that for years.
Yeah, you have been.
Are you a switch hitter in baseball?
No, just a lefty. Binger's going to find out.
So you're a
just
lefty
a power
in baseball.
lefty fucking
See, and you got a great swing.
But
it's the fucking, I swear. Maybe that
Binger, you see that?
Maybe that elbow of yours wouldn't feel so bad if you actually hit the golf ball left-handed.
Elbow. If I hit the ball left-handed, I'd be hitting it out where you do.
I know.
But I don't have the time to start over, do I? I'm just going to give up. I mean,
you're going to do sober January. You said, why don't you go left-handed January too?
I could give up my membership at Big Canyon. I'm about to have to go regular here. Maybe I just give it up and just go to the driving range for the next 5 years. I hope it comes down and then rejoin.
Happy.
How long do you think it would take me? It would take me fucking
3 months.
No.
3 months and you would be hitting golf balls pure left-handed.
3 months?
3 months.
Wow.
If you played twice a week, 3 months with left-handed clubs, does it feel foreign to you? We're getting off topic. Does it feel foreign to you looking down at a golf ball with a left-handed club? Yeah. Or does it looks foreign?
Yeah.
So it's in your eye right now, the golf ball to the right-handed swing. But I think once your eye changes, your feel's already there. You're smacking baseballs and you fucking whipping one tee. Pickleballs.
Yeah, so Nasher's got some mental issues, like you said, on the golf course. I don't know how Discovery you can have any mental. That's like the one place where I don't even worry. Yeah, well, I'm just like, fuck it. Whatever happens out here happens. We're here for a good time.
Totally.
Great guy. Hey, listen, I'm going to say the thing he said about the Arizona Coyotes, I'm with him, right? Everyone thinks they're a laughing stock right now. If this rink is built, they have they have cap room, which is the number one thing in the NHL right now.
And they got the desert and sunshine.
You heard it here first.
Important.
AM 34. We said it, Austin Matthews. We said a year ago that he's going to go to Tempe if they build a new rink.
He's got a sick pad. Bieber's probably got one next to him too.
Yeah. And everything he said about the fans too, right? Like people want to go there.
Yeah.
So it's great. So he was a great interview. We will see him at Mullet Arena in the new year. He'll be out there. So thanks to Tyson Nash, Updog. Thank you. Banger, Maxi. I was missing Curfew.